watch on TV.
And I am streaming.
Oh, and
Let's go. I really got the feeling today that everything is going my way. Now this is what I'm talking about. Every time I see your smile, it makes me shout. Let's go!
Welcome to another Sunday. It's another interesting episode of Power Series. You know, every Sunday it's Power Series, nothing else. The only show on the continent that does the Power Platform series is this show right here. And I am your host, yours truly, Samuel Adrani. In today's episode, we have my own co organizer of the various communities we run. He's going to share with us how to create your very first Power App. Before we do that, like you know, I need to go play my montage, and when we come back, we're going to get right into it.
Hello, Sam. I'm good. You? Okay. So, as Sam introduced, my name is Frank, and I'm Frank Odum. I'm a software developer. I focus mostly on .NET and Microsoft technologies. Recently, I'm heading mostly into the consultancy space. So, I actually do a lot of consulting for projects both locally and internationally. And basically, that's all I do. So I'm a .NET person, and I love building stuff on the .NET technology, and I also love contributing to open source, and I love building community. So Sam and I have been working together to get a lot of .NET and Power Apps, stuff going on. We had a wonderful event yesterday, and for those who are not able to come, we actually had a very good attendance. But if you couldn't make it, for the session we had on Power Apps, I'll go through it so that you could at least get a glimpse of what happened, on that day. And for those who were there, there are certain things that I'll do today that I might delve more into. An example is the Power App Studio. So, just stay tuned as we, work together on this. Okay, so for me, technology has always been a thing for me. I've always loved electronics and gadgets, especially computers. And the interesting thing about me is I'm actually from a business background. I studied business admin actually in the university, but I actually worked in a finance role, and I happened to find myself here. Um, I've always had passion, to solve problems. Okay, so it's all about the passion to solve problems that has actually gotten me here. Because with software development, you build something for somebody, the person uses it. I mean, it comes with a certain how shall I say it? It comes with a certain good feeling. That's one of my motivations, right? To see people use stuff that I've built. Okay, so for me, being in the finance industry or in the business sector for a while, transitioning to software development, it makes it easy for me to understand people's businesses and how to actually build solutions for them. So I tend to like combine, both experiences, to create solutions. And looking at Power Apps, the way Microsoft has designed Power Apps is actually for businesses, right? So for people who own businesses or for those who are in the enterprises, how do they use these tools or the Power Platform to solve their problems? I mean, that is one of the things that is also pushing me towards the Power Apps area, and the excitement of not writing so much code is also I know, right? Mhm. I was like, yeah, I mean, it was an interesting experience because when I first saw you, I'll do that presentation. I was like, so why am I writing all this code with the bot framework trying to do this? Because some of the basic bots you can build, I mean, simple conversational bots for like customer service or even food ordering, etc. You could do that with the PVA, right? Power Virtual Agent. So I'm like, wow, if I can just go into this platform and just quickly get a bot like that to solve the problem, then why am I writing too much code? And sometimes we also ask ourselves, so how about those who are we losing our jobs or what's up? Well, mhm, yeah, hmm, hmm, yeah. There's still a developer curve, even though for Power Apps, yeah. Okay, so today I just want us to just quickly go through a slide, one of the slides I shared yesterday, at least for us to understand why Power Apps and I mean why Microsoft is really pushing this initiative, and at least for new users or a new somebody who doesn't really know what Power Apps is, before we get into the demos, I mean they will get to know that okay, this is what I'm dealing with, and how to sign up for the platform at least as a developer. And Microsoft gives you access to some packages that allow you to sign up for Power Apps and have a feel of it before you even think of purchasing a license. So, yeah, so we'll go through all that. Okay, so let me just share my slide. Let me know if it is rolling. Yeah. Okay, so let me just. Are we good? Okay, so I just want us to quickly go through Power Apps. So as we said earlier on, my name is Frank Akesodum. You can follow me on Twitter, on GitHub and LinkedIn as Frank Odum. And I work for a company called Accede. I'm actually a techpreneur. So I have a small business to run. Yeah, I work with a couple of awesome guys and we build stuff for clients. Okay. So why Power Apps? I want us to get into why Power Apps, why Microsoft actually is pushing this whole Power Apps initiative. The first reason is because of the business gap, right? So as we all know, we live in a cloud first and mobile first world, right? Most we are always engaging with our mobile phones, right? And there are lots of applications that we use on our mobile phones day in, day out. But there was a realization that there's a gap for business apps. Okay, so if an enterprise quickly wants to push out an app, or a business person quickly wants to push out an app, how do they do that? So because of this gap, right? Some of the reasons that have caused this is talent. So there isn't a lot of people who actually can code, right? If you look at the world, the number of people that code versus the number of people that don't code, I mean, the ratio is, those who don't code are more than those who code. And creating mobile apps definitely isn't easy. You need to know how to write code, and technology changes all the time. Okay, so that's one of the reasons, as in getting people to actually write code for you. Another thing is data. We have data scattered everywhere, on-prem, in the cloud, with third parties. How do you build a solution that quickly integrates with all this data? And one of the third reasons that I discovered was distribution of the apps. So if you build an enterprise app and you want to distribute it, there are so many things you have to go through. If you are from the Microsoft space, you have to set in Intune and all those policies and governance. That makes it it's quite cumbersome. So Microsoft introduced Power Apps to actually bridge this gap. Okay, so Power Apps basically is just a suite of services and connectors and a data platform that provides rapid application development. So the thing about Power Apps is we want to build apps rapidly, as rapid as 5 minutes or even less. So, so we want to build custom apps that suit business needs. So as you can see, one of the main areas for Power Apps is actually for businesses. So first of all, we start with your underlying data. So data that you already have or data that already exists. So let's say you have an Excel sheet, you have a SharePoint list, or you even have an ERP or an existing software, okay, that you want to build features on top. All you need to do is just plug into this data using your Power App Studio without writing code. You can quickly just build an application and you can publish and use it on a mobile or web app. Isn't this awesome? No code or less code. Okay, so that's the whole idea of Power Apps. So Microsoft Power business transformation with faster innovation. So if you're in your business and you quickly have an idea and you want to get it done, you can quickly do it with Power Apps. Now, the reason being that there's no code required, it's quick and convenient, and you can actually build custom solution. And why do we say it has a reduced cost? Because you might not have to come and hire me to write a lot of code to get that done. So there's reduced cost in terms of deployment, in terms of resources used. That's like getting more developers, etc. And it's secure and private. Obviously, it runs on the Microsoft Cloud, so security investment there is very huge. You get to enjoy that when you use the Power Apps. Okay, so let's look at so another initiative of Power Apps is, or one of the advantages of using Power Apps is what? Empower employees across all organizations to innovate. Okay, so if you look at this chart, right, this is a chart of technical skills against enterprise population. So enterprise population on the left, technical skills below. So if you realize most of the apps that are being used in the enterprise, right, we have Word, PowerPoint, Excel, SharePoint, Access, and we have the traditional development with using a JavaScript or C# or whichever framework you use. There are more people that use the non-traditional apps, the non-coding apps like Word, Excel, and etc. So how then do we empower these people that use Excel, SharePoint, PowerPoint, or Word to also build solutions that can let them also be comfortable to say that, oh, we had a problem in finance and we didn't have to go and call a developer to come and solve it for us. We quickly took one Excel sheet, we created a Power App out of it, and we started using it. Okay, so we'll take a look at the Power App Studio. Obviously, that's what we need to build our Power App. We are going to look at how we deploy the Power App to a mobile app. Our focus here is the mobile because, we talked about 2019, it was seen that we have about 2 billion mobile devices running. So most of the solutions or the demo I'll be doing will be targeted on mobile for now. In subsequent, we'll look at web apps, etc., or portals. So Power Apps is available on Android and iOS. So what this means is that you can easily target a cross-platform audience, okay? So if you build a solution, you don't need to now think about how am I going to build for Android and build for iOS. Deploy it as a Power App and all these clients will get access to it. If you want to do that as a mobile developer, which I'm one, you would have to either use a framework like Xamarin if you're from .NET, Xamarin Forms, or you have to go for Flutter or Cordova or, those cross-platform frameworks. You don't need to worry yourself about that. And Power Apps also allows for administration. So there's an admin portal where you can manage how your apps are deployed and who gets access to what app. So you can actually have some governance or some administration around your Power Apps. So what can I build? So there are Canvas apps, model-driven apps. So this is how the Power App portal looks like. We'll look at it in a few minutes. And we have portals as well. So basically with the Canvas apps, you first start with the user experience by crafting using a drag and drop interface, right? Then from there, you're able to build your web and mobile experience. That's what we'll be focusing on today. In other streams, we'll be looking at the model-driven apps where you start with your model or your data or your entities, and Power Apps automatically generates a UI for you across your devices. We also have the portals I mentioned about. Then we have the common data service. So we'll be looking at all these other ones in subsequent streams, hopefully, and in other meetups. So please make it a point to follow our channels and get to know when we have a meetup going on in Accra. Okay, so getting started, how do you start? Someone was talking about the community plan. So you can actually sign up for a community plan, which gives you a single user access. It comes with a little bit of restriction though, or you can go for the 30-day trial. That's using Power Apps on Microsoft.com/ENUS. You can get access to 30-day trial, a full trial, having all the features. You can share apps across, etc. So you can also do that. We'll take a look at these portals when I start. So, sure. Mm-hmm.
I also want them to know that there is another way to get that's Office 365 developer account. I've actually written an article about that, a blog post about that. So I'll share it after the video so they can see that as well.
Okay, sure. So awesome. Yes, as I may say, you can also use the Office developer account to get access to Power Apps. So that will give you access to the Microsoft 365 tenant, which you can get access to Power Apps and Flow and all those tools. So we'll be taking a look at all this. So in building our apps, we'll be looking at things like connections, galleries, display, edit, and create forms. So we'll be taking a look at some of the primary building blocks of a Power App. And we'll also look at Gateway this time. So basically, if somebody might ask, okay, so how can I build a Power App whereby I don't want to connect to the cloud? I want to have my data maybe in-house or on-prem. So Power Apps has gateways. I'll just point it to you and you can download a gateway connector and connect to your on-prem and get access to your data source. And there's also flows, now Power Automate, that allows you to create workflows. So you can just create a Power App as soon as, let's say, somebody applies for a leave and they click submit, it triggers a workflow, sends an email to a manager approves, it goes all the way and comes back into Power Apps as a notification. So in our subsequent meetups, we'll be having hackathons and breakout sessions where we'll be building stuff like this. So, okay, so this is what we'll be doing for the demo. We will try and create a Canvas app. We'll try and create one from a blank solution and one from an Excel sheet. And if there's time, a SharePoint list. So, Mr. Sam.
Yep.
Quickly get into that.
All right.
Let
So
me.
whilst Frank is getting ready to get that done, we're still reminding you guys that on the 15th of February, come join us. We're going to see a lot of these hands-on sessions. We're encouraging also businesses, startups, individuals, corporate bodies that have certain challenges that they would want to see the Power Platform use to solve the problem. So if you have any kind of like internal, processes that at the moment is not automated, or you feel it's not up to what you want, you can actually send it to us, and then we will, help you automate it. Yeah. So Frank, all away.
Okay, so let me just share my screen. Let's see. Okay. Let me put this away. Okay. So I talked about Power App Studio, but before that, let me just quickly point you to what someone was talking about. That's the Office developer account, right? Because that gives you dev.office. That will give you, I think, 1 year, Sam, am I right?
Yeah. So that will give you 12 solid months of
12
Office
months, yeah.
development. Yes, that allows you to do everything on the Office stack, in addition to Power Apps, Power, Automate, all the crazy stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so when you come, don't be quick to click the sign up. This is for Microsoft Team Development Scholarship. I saw somebody doing that yesterday.
Yeah.
So you can just go to start now. And oh, this is training. Sorry, I need to scroll down.
And I mean, oh no, hold on, no, don't move out. Whilst you're on the page, okay, page, it's good to let our viewers know, and very soon listeners know that the Microsoft Learn platform is a good place to have, like, to go learn about almost everything Microsoft. And at the moment, there's actually a fundamentals on Power Platform beta exams that is out. You can go do that study part or learning part and certify. Trust me, it's the building block to a lot of things you can do. So spend some time. Microsoft Learn, spend some time there.
Okay, so that's Microsoft Learn. So when you come here, just come to developer program and click join now. It's very tricky. This sign up is very tricky. You might just quickly go for it. So you go to join now and you join the Office 365 developer program. Okay. Once you join it, it's going to give you access to a Microsoft 365 tenant where you are going to get access to Office 365, Power Apps. Okay, so let me just quickly go into Power App Studio. So to get there, you just go to make.powerapps.com. Once you go there, you would have already signed in. I have already signed in, so it took me straight into the studio. Okay, so when you come to the Power App Studio, basically this is what you have. You have Learn. Learn takes you straight to learning resources for Power Apps. So Microsoft has made it easy. In case if you want to know more about Power Apps, you can just click the Learn, and you have guided training, help topics, community. So it gives you everything you need to know. Concerning Power Apps. Microsoft does very well with documentation and learning resources. You always have that.
And whilst you're there, it's good to also point out to them that the community section, it's good to join online and physical communities. Very important.
Yeah. So joining the community also allows you to troubleshoot and share ideas. So in building Power Apps, there are a lot of Power Apps experts on these communities, more like a forum. So you could always, share ideas through communities. I mean, communities are very good. So I'll urge you guys to also take a look at that. But before then, in creating a Power App is as simple as going to click create. And from the slide presentation, you saw the various apps you could create. So we have the Canvas, we have the model-driven app and the portal, which I said we'll look at in other streams or boot camps. And we also have templates. So Microsoft has done very well to provide us with templates that we can actually start building our apps from. So if you scroll down, there are so many templates that you can use, okay? So let me just take one template. Let's look at something like a budget tracker. So if you want to build something that has to do with budget tracking, you could just pick this template and you could modify it and you could have an app straight away. Or if you want to do something that has to do with, let's say, site inspection, this already has the camera, everything configured. So you could just take this template and you could build out from it straight away. So you see you have leave requests, etc. So I'll just pick one of these. Let's pick the site inspection. So it says what format we want it in, tablet or phone. So I'll go with phone. I'll just leave the name as it is. Then I'll just say create.
So Frank, just to interrupt you, what are we creating in this session? I mean, can you give us a brief of the app we're trying to create?
So currently, I'm just demonstrating how you can just pick a template from the gallery. That's the already existing Power Apps. Yeah. So I just picked one for construction, and I'm just scaffolding it to create the app. Okay, so just for them to, you can also start building an app from an existing template. So it's going to create the app. So you realize that this is an existing app, right? But I didn't write anything. I didn't add all these things. This is from a template. So just to show you that you can create apps from a template. And this is how the Power App Studio looks like. Okay, so we are going to create a new app or a blank app, or we are going to go through the studio and see how we actually use the components and tools in the studio. So I'm just going to run this blank app for site inspection. And this is the app, okay? So you can just click, and it's actually a mobile app. I can just deploy to my phone. So with the Power App Studio, it allows you just click this preview tab, and you can display the app in your browser before you deploy it on your phone. So this is an app I just built with a template. I didn't create anything. So just to show you that you can also start building apps from a sample template. But what I'm going to do right now is to create a new app.
Okay.
I'm going to create a new app. And we are going to create a new app from an Excel sheet. So Power Apps has a variety of connectors you can use. You can use Excel, you could use SharePoint, you could use so many, okay? So what I'm going to do first of all is to create an Excel sheet. Or let me just, do you see my screen?
Yeah, we're still seeing the site inspection. We're seeing the Power Apps studio page.
Okay, I've seen the studio instead. Okay, then let me switch to my desktop. Let me switch screen, just a minute.
And as Frank is trying to sort that out, remember that if you have any questions for us, you can actually send it to any of the feeds where you're watching us from, whether it's Mixer, it's YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. Just tweet at us. I'll get the questions. I'll give to Frank to answer if there's any question at all. If you want to know more as well, just join us, and then you will get to know more.
Yep. So let me just share my desktop. Okay, so I'm going to create an Excel sheet. Do you see my desktop right now?
Yeah, we see your desktop.
Okay, so I'll just create a new Excel sheet. So basically, we are going to look at how to create a Power App from an Excel sheet. Now, why is Microsoft introducing Excel as a connector? There are a lot of Excel sheets we have sitting in our offices that can be transformed into apps. So for this basic demo, I'm just going to create, let's say, attendance, I'll call it attendance data. Then I'm going to open this Excel sheet. Now, in using an Excel sheet as your data source, what you need to do is first create your fields. So I want to show this attendance sheet is going to contain first name, last name, let's say phone, something basic, and email, okay? So this is a simple attendance sheet that I want to create. Now I'm going to insert some data into it just to have something populated in our app when it's created. So I'm going to add some names. Let's say Kojo, Emisa. Okay, first name is Kojo, last name is Emisa. Then I'll add the phone numbers. Let's 02 34579. Then email is Kojo.
So Frank, I am
Yeah.
laughing because someone just asked me a very funny question.
What was asked?
And hey, disclaimer, we don't condone such activities. So someone said we need a software that can transfer money from Bank of Ghana into our account without any trace using Power Apps. Please. We
Not
don't
on this
condone-
channel.
not on this channel. We don't condone that. But if you want to build Power Apps on top of your corporate data or your enterprise data, yes, this is the right channel to be on.
Okay, so okay, so look at this. Now we have an Excel sheet. Now for you to use this as a data source in Power Apps, you need to format it as a table. Else Power Apps will not be able to use this. So in formatting it, you just highlight the sheet and you come to what? Format as table. Then you select any style of your choice. Then look at this. By default, this sometimes is not clicked. It's not checked. So you want to check this. My table has headers. So we use the first row as the header. You see that? Now, all I need to do is to save this table, Control S. So this table is saved on my desktop. Now for me to use, so let's say I had this sitting in my organization, I wanted to convert this into a Power App for collecting data, right? All I need to do is put this in OneDrive. So I'll click on my
Frank,
OneDrive.
quickly,
Mhm.
when you go back to Excel, is
Okay.
it possible you can just zoom in, so we can see a lot more of, a bit more. I mean, if you can bring, this is more like it. Thank you very much. Yes.
Okay.
This
So
is much easier for our viewers to see. Thank you.
Sure. So all I did was to create, some fields and some columns, okay, containing this data. And I formatted this as a table. So to format as a table, you need to highlight it, go to format as a table, then you select any style of your choice. Once you select it, it's going to be formatted as a table. Now this can now be used as a data source for your next Power App. So what's going to happen is that we are going to build an app that is going to allow, let's say, somebody now enter this data from a mobile app, and the data is going to be in Excel in real time. Now, mind you, Power Apps can also connect to databases, right? Excel has a limit. I think it has a limit to a certain number of rows. I've forgotten the exact number, but it does have a limit. Yeah, I would probably research it and post it somewhere.
So Frank,
It
there's
has a limit to-
another interesting question, and this I
Okay.
think is a good one. So this is coming from Jamira Tewia Linda. She's asking that, please, can you use Power App to shuffle your notifications on WhatsApp? And another one also from Kelvin Okono says that if you don't have any existing data, can you create a Power App that will save data into Excel? Yes, Kelvin, yes, you can do
Yes,
that. I
you
can
can.
answer that. You can do that. Now,
Mhm.
for Linda's question, asking, can you use it to shuffle your WhatsApp notification? The short answer is yes. The long answer is that there is a workaround to do that. In the sense that as of now, there is no connector
No
for
official
WhatsApp.
connector.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no official WhatsApp connector in Power Automate. So what that means is that you can use Power Automate to call the WhatsApp Business API if you have it. If you have the WhatsApp Business API, or there's actually a way to integrate WhatsApp into a browser, into a website. So you might have to use that. So which means that you have a Power Automate flow that randomizes or generates those notifications or whatever and passes it to your web endpoint. So the short answer is yes. The long answer is this is where you need a developer. Yes, it can be done. Go on, go on, Frank.
So as Sam is saying, for the connections, WhatsApp doesn't have an official connector. So you might have to work around it. Okay, so now let's go back. So what I need to do is I need to save this Excel sheet on OneDrive. Okay, that's how Power Apps will get access to it. So I'm just going to open my OneDrive folder and I'm going to drop this in here. So it's going to sync. Okay, it's finished syncing. So it's on the cloud now. So now I can then go to I can then create a new Power App from, so we are going to create a new Power App, this time using an existing data source, which is what? Excel. Okay, so as you can see, there are other data sources. So if you want to know all the data sources that are available, as per my research today, there are about 250 connections available for Power Apps. And it keeps going by the day. So you need to research on that. So I think I can create from an Excel sheet, or I can create from a OneDrive. I can just use a OneDrive connector straight away and get access to it. So once it comes, it's going to ask me, where do I have my Excel sheet? And as you can see, I have a SharePoint option because I can also connect to my SharePoint and create a Power App out of a SharePoint list. But this time I'm going for OneDrive. Now, what was the name of the file? It was attendance data. This is the file that I uploaded to OneDrive. So all I need to do is just click this. Then I choose this as my table. That's a table I formatted. You might want to name it if you have multiple tables. Now, what Power Apps is going to do is it's going to scaffold an app for me, okay, without writing code. And this is very useful because if you're a developer, it's going to take you a lot of time to actually do a CRUD that has a gallery display, okay, but this is going to do this for you automatically. So if I zoom in, window plus, you would see that I have an app created for me. So I can run this app. Do you remember these are the names I created as the guests. So it's actually a guest list. So now this is the Power App I have. This allows me to sort. I can search over here. I can refresh the data. Now let me create a new guest. So let me add an email. Okay, let me just see if I can populate this. So this is a new guest I've created. I'm going to submit this. And I have a new guest here. I can create another guest. So let's say I'm just taking, so this is just like a basic guest list. So let me say KK at, let's say home.com. Then let's say Kwame. Then let's say Mensa. Then 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay, so look at this. So quickly, Power Apps has created an app for me, okay? And I can deploy this app to Power Apps and access it on my phone. I'll show you that later on. And you can actually search. So if I type AMA, it has a search feature without writing any code. So this is an app scaffolded out from Power Apps. Now let's look at how we can tweak this. So this is called a gallery, okay?
And
we call this.
Frank. So hold on.
Okay.
So all this has just happened in technically less than like 5 minutes. you
With
know,
no code.
with no code.
Yeah,
Literally
that's the
no
fun
code.
part.
All we
Mhm.
needed was just a data source. And even if you don't have the data source, you could have scaffolded this in 5 or 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
assuming this is all you want for your app, I mean that's it. You can deploy it and just download the company Power Apps app on the various tablets and iOS or whatever, and that's it.
hmm
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
as we say, less
So
code, more power.
yeah, so an example is, let's say if you are, let me give you an enterprise scenario or a business scenario. If you have, let's say, field people, I mean, sales people going on the field to, manually record items that are sold from the various distributors, okay, especially within the beverage industry, right?
Mhm.
They go around recording how much distributors have sold because they actually need this data for analysis to know how much to produce and how much revenue. Finance needs it for the revenue side. Manufacturing needs it for to know how much they need to push on the market. Okay. Now, some companies are currently working with Excel sheets and they have their field people going with papers. Okay, I used to work with a beverage industry some time back, and they have people that actually go around. We call them AEDs. They have these pink sheets. They go around, they fill. Then they bring the sheets back to the office and somebody enters it in Excel before it's sent to an analyst who does the analysis, and finance also picks their copy. Now we can use Power App to automate that. All we need to do is just pick that Excel sheet, quickly go into Power Apps, create an app out of it, and deploy it in the organization. Okay, we can just deploy it using the administration and say that, okay, only the salespeople in the organization should have access to this app. And once they go onto the field and they start entering the data, it will be populated in that Excel sheet in real time. I will also demonstrate that this sheet we just created here, remember the original sheet just had 2 entries. But when we go there right now, it's going to have what? More entries. So maybe let me just quickly use that to back this up. Let me open attendance data. Let's see. So look at that. I created this with only what? I think Amma and Frank, but we have Kojo and Kwame sitting in there. So just imagine this to be, let's say, a field survey app or a field service app that you just deploy with Power Apps, and people can just go in and collect data from that without writing any code. You don't need to call any developer to come and do anything extra for you. Okay, so now that we have this app created, we created this app out of an Excel data sheet, right? Now this is the Power App Studio, okay? That's how it looks like. I'll probably quickly just create something blank. Then we look at how it is. But let me just show you how to modify the gallery. So this is what we call the gallery tool, okay? It basically allows us to display data, like multiple data in sort of like a scrollable list. So now when you click on the gallery tool, you have what? Properties, okay? So with Power Apps, every control you see here, you can actually modify it using its properties. So if I come to edit fields, so you see I have the fields here. If I had more fields I wanted to display, I could choose which ones to display. Obviously, you can't display everything in the gallery because the gallery has a detailed view. So you can also do that. And you can also change the layout of the gallery. So if I had images and I wanted a gallery to come with images, I could have just chosen a gallery that has an image. But since I don't have any images, it's going to look funny. Do you see this? I don't have any images yet. There's another data source I have. I downloaded from, I think, the Microsoft platform. Download, this. So let's quickly look at this spreadsheet. This spreadsheet comes with images. So if I was using this spreadsheet, this is an app used by, I think it's for floor works. Okay, what they do is they use this to estimate floor works. Now this comes with the images of the various products, sort of like the kind of carpets they have. So do you see this column, image column? So if I create a Power App out of this, it's automatically going to give me a gallery that comes with what? An image. Okay, so you can also use that if you want to work with images, you can do that. But for now, I don't have any images, so I can just go with I can just go with a simple layout, okay? Tile subtitle, or you can go with any other layout of your choice based on what you are working on. So I can go with something like this as well. And all this we have here are screens, okay? So as you can see, when I run this app, what starts first? The first screen that starts first is what? The gallery screen, which I've modified. I can choose to reorder this, okay? I can say I want the form screen maybe to start first or the detail screen to start first. All you need to do is just to move this upwards. Do we see that? So I
Yeah.
just move this upwards. Now you can just move that up and you can change the ordering of the screen, or you can also duplicate the screen. You can delete the screen also. You can also add a new screen. So let's just play with the gallery and add a new screen. So I'm going to add a blank screen. So now this is a blank screen, okay? And once you add a blank screen, you can add so many tools to it. So you have buttons, we have a button, yeah. So you can just drag and drop. So the Power App Studio using Canvas gives you this drag and drop feel. Okay, I'm sure if you're using Android, you would have written some XML, even though now they have some drag and drop tools. You could also pick, let's say, a text box. We have all these inputs there. You can pick a label. So you can build your own app by just drag, drop, and you're good to go. So you can modify their properties as well. So if I want to change the properties of this button, I can quickly change the name. I can say submit. Okay, I can change the color of the button. That didn't look so good. Okay. So
I don't go close to yellow.
I can change the color of the button. So basically, you can have, if you have any UI person, they can actually, build nice interfaces out of this. Today is not an interface. I'm not an interface person, so maybe some would do something sweet for you. Okay, so you can add like so many tools, okay, and you can modify their properties by just clicking the tool and you select the property and you modify it. So there's a date picker. There's a nice date picker. Let's look at how this date picker looks like. Let me run this, but let me change the order. Remember, let me change the order. Let's let screen one run first. So I'm going to move this up. Let's move this up again. Move up, and let's move this up. Let's run this and see. Okay, so you see this is my beginning screen right now. Now look at the date picker. It gives you a beautiful date picker you can use. Okay, so it's a very nice widget. There are a lot of widgets Power Apps actually has that you can use. So let me just close this and let's quickly see what else you can do. You can change the background of the canvas if you want to. If you want to use an image for the background, you can as well. Use an image, etc. So now let's do one thing. Power Apps has a way of writing functions. Okay. So if I want this button to open another screen, I can do that. All I can do is click on this button and come here. This is our function bar, okay? Then this is the property. We use the property on select, right? So on select on this button, we want to move to the next screen. So we can just say navigate, then let's navigate to move to the next screen. Let's say, so we can just say navigate. Okay. So as simple as that. Then I don't know if you want to call this code to the next screen. It's just putting a simple function or something to agree.
It's literally just like Excel, like typing
Excel, yeah.
Formulas,
exactly,
yeah. In a formula bar. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So that's how I can navigate from one screen to another. So I can just click this and it brings me here. So basically the App Studio allows you to, use a drag and drop field And you can actually start from a blank app and connect it to the data source. Sam, if you have time, I would want to demo that. Do we?
Oh yeah, we have time. Yeah, like I said, I
Okay.
mean, on the Power Series, you control the time.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. I was even trying to rush through it.
No,
So
so
I
on the
keep
Power
looking at my
Series,
time.
you control the time. You know, if you want to spend
Awesome,
2 hours,
awesome.
that's cool. So hey, because we want to teach people how to do this thing. So hey, go for it.
So that's power to me, right?
Yeah, power to you.
Interesting. Okay. So now as you saw earlier on, we just created an app, right? That we just scaffolded with an Excel sheet. Okay. Now let me just see if I can show you. Let me deploy this app to a mobile device. I really want to make things very practical so that you see that it just doesn't end here. Because right now I'm just debugging this or I'm running this through the browser. But let me just see if I can push it to Power Apps. So I'm going to save my app. Okay. So let's save. Did I give it a name already? So save as, let's call this guests. Let's call this guest list. Okay. So this is our guest list app. Then I'll say save. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to access this on my phone. I'm going to actually screencast my phone. I'm going to say share. So it's going to share to environment axis. We'll look at application lifecycle management of Power Apps in subsequent streams or in other meetups, whereby you can create different environments for Power Apps. So you can also have things like your dev, your staging, and your production stage, your production environment. So I'm going to share this, and hopefully once it's saved, I should be able to get this on my mobile app. Just a second. Let's see. Let me just screencast. Okay. So as you can see, this is my mobile phone. You can see my network, right? So I hope my screen is showing.
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay. All right. So I just can see this is my mobile phone. I just screencast this. So I'm going to hit refresh. And it's going to, do you see guest list? So this is the app I just created. Look at the guest list. So I'm going to click on it. And yeah, it gives me a bit of tutorial. I say next. Swipe from left of the edge to close up. Got it. Okay, so it's going to open guest list. So if I was an organization and somebody had created this app and deployed it, all I need to do is have Power Apps installed on my phone and I'll be able to access this app. But as you can see, this screen isn't functional, okay? So I'm just going to hit submit and get to the part of the app that is actually functional, which is this. Now I'm using my phone. I'm going to add another guest list. I just hit add and I can, so as you can see, it's an Android phone. You can see from my keyboard. So I can just add, let's see, HHH add, just to show you it's running natively. And the good thing about Power Apps is it allows you to also use native features of the phone. So somebody will ask, oh, can Power Apps access my camera? Or if I build an app, can I get access to camera? Can I get access to
GPS?
can I
and
get
all
access
that.
to GPS?
Yeah.
Can I get access to maps? Okay, so for field service people who want to pinpoint geolocations, etc., you can use a simple Power App that can do that. And I think we have some interesting use cases that will be solving with stuff like that soon, right, from the community.
Yeah.
So let's say Kwame, let's say Eugene. I don't know if it's a surname, but I'll put it there. Then let's put a number there. Then I hit save. So this is right from the Power App mobile app. So as you can see, did it save yet? Yeah. Kwame. So I can modify this, I can edit this, I can delete it. I didn't write any code. So now let's just check if we have Kwame using our Excel sheet quickly, just for you to know that even by deploying this from the phone, we still have our Excel sheet being updated. Let me just open my OneDrive, open attendance lists, and let's see what happens there. Do you see Kwame Eugene? So it's there.
Yeah.
07.
Yeah.
Okay. So all I did was to deploy this, and the good thing about this is I don't need to worry whether I can run this on Android or iOS. If I have people in my organization using iOS, all they have to do is download Power Apps from the Apple Store, and they'll get access to the same app running natively on iOS. So the good news for Power App developers or citizen developers is you don't need to worry about cross compatibility. Okay, cross compatibility isn't your headache at all. So basically, that's an app. Let's modify certain things in our guest list. So let me show you. You can actually change things like the icon of the app. If you don't want the default icon, you can change it. You can change your theme. It's easier modifying the app through the theme, or you can individually go in and just change. Where were we? Okay, let me just navigate here. Our apps. Where did my apps go? Okay, so I can just do this. Let's just modify this a bit. Let's edit this. So you can change the icon, you can change the theme, you can change so many things. So just to show you, you already get logged to editing another user. So let me override this. I think it's opening another window, that's why. So let me close this, leave. Let me go back. So I'll show you one interesting screen you can also add. Usually when you want, if you're a mobile developer, you can attest to this, that is, it will take you a lot of code to write this. Let's add one more screen. Remember tutorial screen, building a mobile app, you want to show someone, just how the app is being used. To do this in Android, at least for Android, I know it isn't just straightforward. So you can just add a tutorial screen, okay? So let me let this run first so that you have a feel of it. Usually tutorial screens run first, right? So let me just move it to the top. Where are we? Can I just drag you? Let me just move top. And there are certain shortcuts you could use to move. I've forgotten the move to the top. So let me just manually do it now. And please name your screens. This is a demo, so I'm not actually naming my screens. If you don't name your screens, you do know which is which. So now look at this. I just added an intro screen. No wahala. Just click next. You see it has the pagination, and you can have the image changing as well if you want to. Kindly escape. Escape doesn't work, okay? There's no function behind escape. So if we want to add a function behind the skip, all we can do is just click the skip. So you see when you click skip, over here, it says text. It's not a text property we want to modify. We want to modify the words select, on select. So we can say on select, yep. On select, what do we want you to do? We want you to move straight to one of the pages. So we just use our navigate function again. Then we'll say move to, let's say browse screen. So that's my intro screen now. So you can always pick this and modify it. So if you run this as an app, it's actually going to allow you to do all the swiping on. So you see after the intro, the user can just come over here and now start using the app. So over there, we might have wanted to tell them how to use the app, what the app does, usual thing about mobile apps. Okay, so that's one interesting screen you can add. So there are a lot of them. There's also a success screen. Okay, so let's say if this was a leave management or leave management app, and I want to, after the person clicks submit, I want to say, oh, thank you for submitting this. Very basic screen that you can modify. Yeah. Okay. So you
actually,
can also
Frank,
add that to
so quickly, Kelvin wants to know how you created a submit button to save the data in Excel that he's been trying to do it. So if you can just go back quickly just to show how you added the submit button.
Okay, so the submit button is part of the submit button is here on the details screen. No, on the edit screen. Yeah.
Yeah, at the top.
So this is the submit button.
Yeah.
So this submit button is just submitting the form. You see, this is already what the beautiful thing about Power Apps is. Once you connect it to your data source, so it knows that I want to submit this data because all these fields are connected to the Excel sheet. Let me show you that. If you click on this field, right, you go to advanced, okay, then you need to unlock it. If you don't unlock it, it won't allow you to access the properties. Look at this.
Yeah.
See, they are mapped to various data fields. So it already knows where it is going to, okay? So once you hit, say, submit this form, it's going to submit it to that particular connection. It could be a SQL table, it could be MySQL, or it could be Postgres. Those connectors are readily available on Power Apps. So basically, that is how it works.
You know,
So
Frank, I think we should do this. That will probably help him understand. So,
Okay.
Kelvin, if you're following, Frank, can you just pull, just add a button just below this particular screen?
Okay, to
Just
submit,
put a
right?
button,
Okay.
exactly. So let's just
Okay.
show Kelvin how easy and simple it is, to do.
Okay,
So yeah, let's just no, actually, I just wanted to go to insert and let's just put a button there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's just drag a button.
yeah.
There.
I'm not even button. Yeah. So let's
just put a button there. Yeah.
let's
So
just
Kelvin,
say
this is the
submit.
first step. You put a button there. You can name it whatever you want, and then Frank, I think we can go up to the button, the
So
original one. Yeah. Yeah.
so
So Kelvin,
let's
just copy it, just like Frank is doing.
so on select, we want to submit this form.
And that's it. Can we just run the application again and add? I'll give you the details to add, so that he sees that we use the button we just created and the data went into Excel. So Kelvin, if you're following, yeah, go for it, Frank.
You can also change. Okay, let's do that after we come back. So let me just run it again. So let's let me just clear this. Let's go to skip. Let's add new data. Then let's call this new submit, so that we know it's new.
Yeah. And we can use the first name of Kelvin.
Okay. So Kelvin, let's see.
Okornoe.
Okornoe. I hope I'm right. Then some phone number.
Yeah, it's actually E at the end. OE.
NOE.
Yes, E for eagle. Yeah.
Okay, let's just put this there. And let's see. This is triggering the submit function.
Yep.
So Kelvin, do you see that?
So Kelvin, that's how easy it is to add the submit button.
Okay, so let me just tell the users one trick or you can use to study Power Apps very fast. So when you scaffold an already existing template, right, you can reverse engineer from there. Okay, so even if you don't know how it works, you can just be clicking the buttons and look at the kind of functions that are being written by the already existing apps. Okay, then you can even use that to learn how to now do certain things in Power Apps. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So you can just, let's say, scaffold an app that already has a camera functionality, because there's a template like that. And you just look at how Microsoft went about writing the function for the camera, and you can just make use of that in your application. So you can also do that as well. So let me quickly show maybe a couple of one more or two stuff, then maybe we could close. Okay, so you can change these icons. You can change the color of this. You can obviously change this as well. So you can call this, let's say, guest lists. Okay. If you don't want any of these icons, so let's say if you don't want this to be your ad, I think let me use the save. I think there's a default button for nice icon for, let's see which of the screens has that. Let's go to the edit screen. Okay, look at this. Let me change this icon. There are a couple of icons that you can actually use if you want to change them. Where did the icon go? So let me just do that and maybe a couple of things, then we can just call it a day or a night. Okay, there it is. So let's see. Properties, supposed to be icon somewhere. Color, border, hover.
I mean, if you unlocked it, you should be able to change it from the top.
Yeah, but I don't know. Okay, let me see if it's at insert. Yeah, there's it.
Yeah, icons. Oh, there
Okay,
you go.
so if I want to change this icon, let's say to something else, I can do that here. So you can add your own icons, etc. So if I want to use a diskette, I mean, we are all used to diskettes for C. Well, from where I come from. So I think my users might understand this more. So I can quickly switch this. But mind you, if you switch this, it doesn't have any functionality yet, right?
Yeah.
So you have to go through adding the submit functionality to the new icon. You can also possibly modify the icon. As you can see, the border color is too dark, so you can just change it to white, blah, blah. You can like modify so many things in the icon. So you can also change the color itself to this, okay? So you can replace this with that. So you can also do that. Any other questions?
No, so Kelvin is okay with what we showed him, so he's fine.
So you could maybe change this to add guests instead of
yeah, just the button.
Yes. And let's update this. Let's save this and go to our mobile device. So if you, the user, or you, the Power App developer, had done this, right? And so when we talk about application lifecycle management in other series, you realize that it's telling me to put in a version note. Power Apps automatically updates the versions for us or handles the version for us. So I'll just say, let's say added new button, or just say maybe and change UI. I'm just put something there that, I mean, has talks about the change that you made. So once we do that, we hit publish. But since I'm already over here, I'm going to screencast my phone again, and let's see if we have that change in the app. So let me connect to my mirror. All right, so I'm going to exit the app. So first of all, let me just close Power Apps, okay? So for you to just see, do you see the icon Power App over here? This is actually what the users have to install and sign in, and they get access to all the Power Apps that the organization has built. So that's how Power Apps is deployed. Currently, you cannot push Power App straight to Android, the Android market or Apple Store. Maybe in the future that will happen. So when we go here, we have our guest list app. I should have checked the version.
Yeah, so yeah.
I should have checked the version just to make sure it's gotten the old one. Also, I should have refreshed it. But let's see what happens. So the new one should have the button. Oh wow, look at that. Do you see? So I think this is a new version. Because the old one didn't have this. So we'll go to skip. Then it brings us here.
The new one.
Then we go to add. Then it brings us here. Okay. So So you see we have the save button on the top, and this is my phone. Okay. So now let me just close this. And this is sort. This button right here is sort, the one in the middle. So you can sort, you can actually modify the sort and choose what you want to sort by. So you can also give your users that functionality as well. So let's see the sorts. Where do we have sorts? We have it on the edit, the browse screen. So you click sort. Let's see. So do you see the sort function here? What is it doing?
Mhm.
It is sorting by what? Descending.
Descending, yeah.
So you can actually change that as well. You can also modify the icon for the sort. Okay, and you can write some small conditions for that as well. So you can always choose to modify these things. So basically, that is just a quick tour of the Power App Studio. And we'll be doing more, from subsequent streams and meetups. So any question, Mr. Sam?
Well, at this moment, we don't have any questions on any of the feeds yet. It looks like,
Okay.
people are content. So, yeah, that's cool.
So power to you. You could just create an app straight from any data source. It could be an Excel or it could be even an existing SQL database. So let me quickly just show you the connectors and maybe we can just wrap it up.
Sure.
So let's look at, where are we? So look at the other data sources you can connect to. So somebody asked me yesterday if we could connect to MongoDB, but MongoDB currently wasn't on the list. But I think you can create a custom connection, can't you, Sam?
Yes, you can. So let's do this. So because there are existing connectors and you can use Excel and the rest, there's actually a plugin that allows you to pull data from I think MongoDB and other third-party databases probably into Excel.
Okay.
So you can have a Power Automate or Flow that keeps doing that, pushing it into Excel, and then you pick it from Excel. So there's just several ways to go around it.
Yeah, so as you can see, there are various connectors. There's SQL Server, there's SharePoint. Because of time, we might not do SharePoint today, maybe another time. You can connect to a SharePoint list. But for the devs who were asking the other time, there's SQL Server, there is Postgres SQL, there is Oracle Database, there is MySQL. At least these are like some of the very popular ORMs, databases we have around. So you can also connect to Dropbox. You can actually build a Power App that can view your Dropbox and delete stuff and do certain cool stuff. So you can do that as well if that is your use case. So yeah, so for that question, whoever asked that question yesterday, Sam has answered it on the stream. So you can use a custom connector, or if you're already using any of these guys, you can just quickly connect with them. Okay. So let me just you can also change the orientation of your app. I think I'll end with that. Then let me just go back. Where's my app? Let's see. Try not to open it more than once. Let me close this. Let me close this.
So Kelvin just asked another question. He said that he reloaded the app he was creating and it looks like he lost everything. Any advice on that?
So Power App actually has an autosave, but it's always advisable to make sure you at least have the app saved, like do a save as, give your app a name, save the app whilst you are working so that you can get at least it auto-saving. Once you've saved it, you shouldn't have it for some reason just getting missing. So usually you'd want to just make sure you have at least saved as once, just to get that auto save all the time. So let's look at this. So you can actually change the icons, okay, of your app. So as you can see, there's a scaffolded one. Let me see if I can get to the guest list. So let's, oh, did I save? So let's just look at how we can do screen orientation. I think we can just end with that. So when you come to, let me just use this app. Let me just show, when you go back here, or when you attempt to save, actually. So let's attempt to save our app and let's make some modifications to it. So, am I not getting this option? Okay. So I'm going to save the app again. Let's say replace. Yes. Okay. So now, because it handles a version for you, if I click see all version, we'll talk about application lifecycle management another time. You realize that it would have created different versions for. You see this?
Yeah.
And I can, if it says this is what live and published, this is what is published right now. So if we have any issue in production for a particular app, what can we do? We could just roll out or roll back. Reverse it to a previous version. So Power Apps you can also do certain integrations with your usual DevOps process and everything. So you actually have everything that the core developers have as well. So you can have version controlling over here. So in case something happens to your app, you can roll back. Let's see if we can try and do that. Restore. Do you see that? Publish this version. So I can publish this version instead of what the other version. So it allows us to do that. So we'll do that under ALM anytime we have the chance to. So now let's just look at the orientation. Then we can close. So let's edit this app again. Oh, it's opened here. Okay, so let's edit this app. Let's see, save as. Oh, am I not seeing the settings? Yeah, good. So when we come to the settings of the app, realize that when we go here, this is how our app looks like. This is the icon of our app. We'll actually change the icon of the app. So there's the icon. Well, let's change the background. This is a guest list, right? So do we have anything like a pen here? Okay, there's a pencil. I'll use this. Okay, so now I can put a description of the app here. Simple guest list. Taking up. Okay, then what else can I do? Let's look at screen orientation. So this, for some reason, if you have an app that you want to target only landscape orientation, you can do that. Okay, so I'm going to apply this to our guest app and let's see what happens. So we're going to say apply. Okay, so this is the last thing we'll do. Let me just close this. So let me just save to make sure. So let's say modified icon and what else did we change? Okay.
And orientation.
Yeah. Okay, so we just run this then. At least this is just to give you an idea of how you can, start a Power App straight from a simple data source. Because the idea of Power Apps is to give non-technical people access to what application development. Now, why is that important? Because you as a business owner, you might understand your business more than what a developer. A developer needs to get understanding from you. So if you have the ability to build apps, then you can actually sit down and build an app for your business or your organization. So that's what Microsoft says power to you. So let's just hit this and we'll look if our app icon has changed and whether our orientation also changed. Then I guess we can end here today. So as you can see, it's not changed yet. So I can do two things. Can I check the version from here? I can go to details and see if I'm running the current version. Am I? I might be. So let me just refresh this. Did you see that?
Yep.
Guest list has changed. Okay. So now I've just modified the icon for guest list. So this is an organization or a business, and these are the apps that are in. So when we are doing things like governance and admin, administration, we realize that we can deploy certain apps for certain groups of people, and certain groups of people didn't get access to it. So now let's check if the orientation is right. I always think I can click from here. I need to click from my phone.
I mean, yeah.
Look, I keep clicking from the screen. This is not, what's the name of the other app? The one that allows you to control from the screen.
Is it TeamViewer or something?
There's one, it starts with a V.
Oh, Visor.
Visor, yeah.
Yeah.
So look at this. Now we have our app in landscape mode. So if this was a tab, we could have used maybe just landscape mode for this app. So now it's set to default towards landscape. So we can edit, So obviously there are certain tweaks you need to make if it's in landscape. So as you can see, my button has just fallen out of place. Yeah, so you need to go back and modify that. Okay, so I believe after the end of this presentation, you would understand what Power Apps is, why Microsoft is pushing the Power Apps initiative, and even why as a non-developer, you can now start building solutions for your business or your enterprise or organization. So I'm done.
Awesome, guys! As you have
Awesome.
seen, as you have heard, as you have experienced, we started from nothing, just an Excel file, created our own Excel file, and now we built an app that is accessible from your mobile phone and your tablet right within, a couple of minutes. This is the kind of power that the Power Platform and Power Apps gives you. Well, Mr. Odum, thank you very much for sharing your experience. Thank you for sharing all these tips and tricks to us. Hopefully, in the coming episode, we'll make some time and go and delve deep into it. If you really want to do and learn more about Power Apps, like I said, join the online community, join the physical community. Let's learn, let's share, and don't forget on the 15th of February, the official Global Power Platform Bootcamp is happening in Ghana, Accra, NIIT to be specific, held by the Accra Power Platform User Group.
It's gonna be awesome.
Very awesome. So, guys, thank you very much for sticking with us. Mr. Odum, thank you very much for sharing this knowledge. Until we come your way next Sunday with another episode of Control Escape, this has been the Power Series on Demystifying Technology. Have a great, great day.